Happy days and year it is again. Happy New Year! Although it is the 8th and a little belated, and it'll probably be a few days later than that when you see this video because I have to edit it and things and get it out there. But I have the amazing, the most beautiful inner man I've ever met out there. Also, you could see he's very handsome, but inner he is drop dead gorgeous. Tony Brown of Total Body Health in London, Tony.
Absolutely, Wimbledon, London.
Oh, look at that, Wimbledon, London. If you're going to go somewhere, go there. Do you know what I mean? Cover the place in tennis balls. But here it is. We're here today with our holistic health and body wealth series that we have going on. We've been jumping back and forth, and we want to open up this year, viewers. Okay, we have something really special for you, which is the balance of body money. 365 body steps in 1 year. What is your budget? Bit of a long one, I know, but here's the thing. There are only 365 body steps in 1 year. So we're looking at, that's your budget. That's all you have in this year is 365 body steps. So let's look at the balance of body money. What do we mean by that? I'm going to just bring in a quick, body money is the energy that you spend out and bring back in. Like gas and electric, we pay for energy, we receive energy, we pay for energy. And the same with our body, we give it out and then how we bring it back, how we recognizing our procrastinating body money, in a sense of procrastinate. Money, energy, what does that look like? When you think, God, energy, how do you put a cost to energy? You are that cost. Your body, your mind, your emotions, spiritually, mentally, biologically, all these things are part of your body money. We're going to look at how we reboot and reset. And more so of all, how are you seeing your life currency within that? Let's dive in, Tony. Body. I called you body, man, but that's because it is effectively, that's what you do. You see it, you understand it, Tony, at what is total body health. But when we think about your body money, we think about how we are seeing that, how we start our emotional days, weeks, months. People talk about savings. You should save money. How are we saving body money? We are too quick, would I go into my savings account and pull out £500,000 and say, there what, have that, mate, take it? Absolutely not. But I'm quick in giving away £500,000 worth of body energy away and then wonder why I'm flatlined for a couple of weeks. Isn't that crazy?
Certainly is crazy, but that's what so many of us do. And one of the ways in which we do it is we get up in the morning and reach for this.
Yes.
That is very expensive in terms of energy.
Yeah.
We have a certain amount of energy every day to spend, as you say, like a budget.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do is spend on the most important items first. But what so many of us do, because, go back to this, it's like crack cocaine. And so what people do, many are addicted to it, is reach for this first thing in the morning and spend the largest amount of money that they have that day, or the largest amount of energy that they have that day, scrolling. They're looking at the news, which winds them up, gets them angry. They're looking at a post that somebody's put up, which they may or may not disagree with. Rather than going in and filling their coffers by meditating or reading something positive, they're spending before earning.
Wow. Do you think we become addicted to the deficit of energy also, where we are so, you say when you pick up that mobile device, immediately it's designed to suck energy out of you, suck your money life out of you. See, and physical money also, we could say, but it immediately is designed to do that. We cannot get charged by our phone unless we have searched a particular, we could say, app or something that does synthetically, or can only synthetically create a light recharge, whether it's a certain kind of music or certain listening to. We may be listening to podcasts that offer energy within that. But the only true form of body energy is actually to find our organic way of recharging ourselves. anything that's externally recharging can only synthetically have a limited life because it's somebody else's energy that's synthetically charging our energy. So effectively, we should be saying, okay, what does my energy look like? And that's the first thing, because most people, do you feel most people's energy, Tony, is depleted by what are disappointed habits?
Definitely. It's negative stuff. So, for instance, when people pick up their phones and they're scrolling in the morning and they look at the news, there's nothing positive in the news. It's not designed to be positive. It's designed to be clickbait. It's designed to be sensational and negative.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it gives us a charge of dopamine,
Yeah.
addictive, and we want another hit. So you see one terrible thing that's happening in the world, and you're looking for the next terrible thing that's happening in the world. But all these things do is deplete our energy. And so people just need to be aware of how addictive that is and think of your energy like money. You wouldn't spend all your money at once.
Mm-hmm.
So spend all your energy at once.
And when we think about, the value of energy also, let's say, £10 is £10. We can't change the value of that. But the value of a £10 note is going to be different for me than what it is for you because of our childhood. So effectively, some of us, all of us, will spend our energy at a different rate to other people and have less value or more value of our energy because of our childhood, because of the first 10, 15 years. So we really need to be looking back into what that habit looked like, what that spent. Listen, I was a show off as a child because that's what I got recognition, which meant I overspent my energy as a child in order to show off, be exaggerative, to be loved by my parents. And I've had to recognize that. Now, some people say I'm an extrovert. Actually, no. As a child, I was a show off. That's what I got my love and attention. And I had to realize as an adult that by practicing that, by still fulfilling that, one, it de-energized me quickly because I put in too much emphasis in wanting to be liked, which was supporting my imposter syndrome. Do you see it? Now, my imposter syndrome was sapping my energy because I needed to overdo how I was with people because my energy, my love come from if I showed off, my parents recognized me. You see, now I had to learn that currency. And that currency has layers to it. And that's where we are, listeners. Understand, your spending of body energy, life energy comes from that early part of your life. Some people lose energy from not being recognized and withdraw within themselves. And they'll overexpend that energy because they give no worth to it. So just give it into the ground, into the earth, and just let it drop away. See, there are so many different currencies to what that energy looked like. If you think about your energy now, Tony, how do you feel that was influenced in the way you spend it now from the early part of your childhood?
It's fascinating to look at it that way because I think I was quite the opposite to you. I was taught, I should be seen and not heard. Shut up, go away. Big people are talking. And so I learned to make myself small, to be quiet and become introverted. And that's how I grew up. Now, again, equating the consciousness to money, I suppose in that sense, I grew up with a poverty consciousness. It was always, I haven't got enough, be small, quiet. Whereas, some of my friends were, as you say, extrovert and they're, look at me, I've got this, I'm doing this, look, mummy, daddy. Completely the opposite. And when we look at how wealth goes, it's similar to having the poverty mindset and the wealth expanded mindset, where you don't put limits on yourself. Whereas, so from a very early age, I put limits on myself, and I still have those issues, and I have to be conscious of them.
But those energy limits were put on you. They were put on you where you had to manage them, keep it condensed. So effectively, you could say, where my energy was wasted, I pushed it out, give it away, give it away. There could be that your energy is so condensed that it's just waiting to burst. Can you imagine how much self-management it would take to shrink energy over just throwing it out? Because we are energy in its sense. We are all energy. That takes so much discipline. It's almost like an Olympic energy athlete that it takes to be able to condense it and hold it without escaping. You know, that somewhere you've got this bank of energy that's so rich, where mine is a giveaway, but yet both are exhausting.
And I think it's interesting because I kept it all in and internalized it, and some of that was negative, that turned into depression later.
Wow. Yeah.
Because instead of getting rid of it, it's all getting kept in and it stacks up inside, and then it starts to have a negative impact generally on your life.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to live like that without realizing that that's how you're living and why you're living like that. And it's taken me an awful long time to see that's what was happening. But it's very liberating knowing that that's what was going on and seeing why I behaved in such a way I did for such a long time.
I mean, when we think into these philosophies that we are sharing here, you know, when you think about that, viewers, all you there that are watching and listening to this right now, it's like, okay, before I think about my body money, I have to understand the nature of my body money. I have to understand the nature of my body energy. My we could say my recycling energy that's come from my past. How was that? How did that outplay? In, out? Was it valued energy, devalued energy? Did I waste it? Did I save it and save it and save it to a point to become stagnant energy? Did I save it and then give it out in bursts? When I was allowed to be heard, I just threw out as much energy as I can. Listen, 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 listen to me. Then suddenly you're having to save again and wait for that next burst. And then you'll find your life is in bursts. Or you find your life is, your energy is condensed, and you know you have loads, but yet it's only drip feeding out. Or like me, you just throw it out, then you actually have to manage it because you can be overwhelmed for people. Viewers, I am at my best when I'm in front of 1,000 people and giving a keynote, speech or delivering a seminar. But is that a healthy place for me to get my energy? Why can't I get my energy from just doing what my wife does and sit down on the settee on the sofa and actually do nothing for 1 hour? Why do I feel I have to move in order to get energized? Which takes me right back to show off or you're dull, Paul. Show off or you're not recognized. For yourself, Tony, what is it? You feel that when you sit in your space, you're more energized rather than standing in front of 2,000 people. And we look at those other people that have bursts. There are so many shapes to the currency now in this realization, do you think?
There are, and certainly because I hold stuff in an awful lot, then occasionally the top comes off.
Yeah.
And it comes out in an explosion, not very well controlled sometimes, and that lands me into trouble. It has done.
Yeah.
That's happened when I spend my emotions too much, and the same happens with money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly when I look back on life, when I've had a lot of money at one point, I spent it all.
Yeah.
And then wondered, where's it gone?
And that's
And
it. Wow. It's amazing because now when you're saying when I spend my energy, I spent my energy because it was like, okay, it wasn't worth anything to anybody. So every time I delivered energy, because I wasn't allowed to say, it had no matter. The same here. I spent it out to be recognized, but yet it didn't get me anywhere. So I spend out, and here you go, viewers. Again, you're thinking, you look back, and what we see in here is what's the shape of what your energy look like, and that will be shaping out in your life right now because physical money and life currency are the same. They both have value to creating goodness, success. We could say materialism, and we're talking about emotional materialism as well as physical materialism because they both can be hurtful and can be happy and can be sad.
absolutely, it's very, very accurate. And was listening to a lady called Liz Bateson a while ago, and she's spot on with this stuff. And she talked about how people approach New Year and how we're controlled, by the media and everybody. Happy New Year, New Year, new you, new this, new that. Whereas the New Year shouldn't really be starting in the middle of winter when it's cold and miserable and like this. It should start in spring. And that's probably when New Year did originally start.
Mm-hmm.
And for various other reasons, we're told it starts in January. Now, it's very difficult for some people to feel full of the joys of spring and let's go in the middle of winter. And biologically, our bodies are not meant to operate like that. It's still a time for hibernation.
Yeah.
And so maybe when a lot of people suck in what we're told, what we're indoctrinated with, it's New Year, go, 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 hustle, 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 but they haven't got the energy to do it, and then they feel a failure. Or they try and do it and then think, oh, I'm knackered now, I can't do it. And I think that we're taught a lot of things, well, this, we're taught and indoctrinated with a lot of things that are not actually true, which are not good for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of them. And when we link that to energy expenditure, I think that fits right in, because spring is the time of rebirth, renewal, and energy, not January.
I hear you, absolutely. Although I am a believer that organically we should be reliant on ourselves. We are very reliant on vitamin D and what that looks like as a big part of our life, But I also feel that if we look at, how do we reboot and reset? How do we then, let's look back and think, okay, here we are, Tony's energy was suppressed, mine was expressed, and we are seeing that neither are any better, worse, happier, sadder, are any differentiate. They're both relevant, but actually we are seeing the same outcome here. So we're looking to think, okay, viewers, how do you reboot? How do we reset? What are we suggesting, Tony? What do we think? Okay, if we want someone to say, okay, take a reset in emotions, would it be a change of physical actions from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, because we're digesting all day? Do we think, okay, do we purposely, we could say, introduce a digital-free morning and purposely introduce 1 day a week where there is no physical time in a day, only the sun rising and the sun setting? That is your physical time of that day. So removing the actuality of modern craziness to allow for organic energy. What if we were to say, set the task? And let me know your thoughts on this. If we just say, okay, we set a call to action. 1 day a week, every week, is a time-free zone. So you wake up at your organic self, but you go to sleep when the sun sets. So basically, I live like the birds myself. I wake up when it's light and I go to bed when it's dark. And that's how I live, because it makes the most sense to me. The birds do it, then I should do it. And then we're saying, what does that digital free time look like? How do we make it guilt-free? So share me your thoughts, Tony, on those suggestions.
I think that makes total sense. Since we as a species invented electricity, everything's gone haywire, because it means that we, unlike our ancestors, don't have to go to bed when the sun goes down and wake when the sun comes up. And in the Industrial Revolution, obviously those who control production thought, yeah, we can get these people working around the clock.
Yeah.
Now we've got electricity, and they did. And that hasn't stopped. What's happened now as well is that because we're contactable 24/7 by phone, by email, text, whatever, we get the same fight and flight mechanism happening 24 hours a day. So instead of, occasionally, let's pretend we're cavemen. Occasionally you've got a wild animal, big animal coming towards you, and you decide to get ready to run, freeze, or whatever. Now we don't have those big animals, but it could be a text from the boss or the bank or the Inland Revenue or one of those brown letters through the door. You know, these are the things that set us on edge, that make our stomachs tighten up, and that put us into fight or flight mode. But then we get ping, ping, ping notifications all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you turn those notifications off, this crack cocaine here, we're like this.
Yeah.
I was listening to an Audible book yesterday, and it was this guy who'd done some experiments on how many times somebody looks at their phone. And this lady had looked at her phone over 1,000 times in the day, in
Wow.
one day.
Wow.
And then you think, what did she get done in that day? Because when the dopamine hits and we're looking for the next high, we're taken away from whatever it is that we need to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is why, you know, if we want to get some studying done or some deep work done, you know, it's recommended that we use something called the Pomodoro technique, where we do 25 minutes focused work with everything else turned off, 5-minute break, back to it, 25 minutes.
Wow.
And that's how people manage to write books. It's how they study for exams. It's how they get stuff done, using a polite word.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about sort of doing things organically with regard to night and day. A friend of mine used to do night shifts. He's just stopped doing those now. And he was telling me he'd been doing this for years, and it was wrecking his body
Mm-hmm.
and his mind, because, you know, he's going to bed as the sun comes up, and he gets up in the dark. He's not seeing any sunlight, not getting any vitamin
Wow.
D. And so many people now work either night shifts, or they're working through the night when they should be sleeping, and they're missing out on daylight.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really not healthy at all. And we get a lot of our energy from the sunlight.
Yeah.
So if you don't see the sunlight, that depletes your energy. So do the type of light bulbs that we have when we're working in the dark. If you
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, remember the old fluorescent strip lights?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those deplete your energy. They suck energy out of you.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And, you know, people are not aware of this. So if they're working in an environment like that and they're feeling they're getting the slump earlier and earlier each day, that's one of the causes behind it. And then there's what we put into our bodies as well. You know, so some people get up and coffee's the first thing that they go for,
Mm-hmm.
because it'll give them that little rush to get going. But first we need to hydrate with water
Yeah.
before coffee.
Oh,
And again, because some people get that the other way around and they go for the coffee first, and a lot of people just don't drink enough water anyway,
yeah.
and that depletes energy.
Do you think, Tony, that part of your morning should always be recognizing your own state of being, recognizing that you have a nose, you have a mouth, you have ears, you have a head and face, recognizing you have shoulders, arms, and so many of us get up and ask our body to move without even being aware of it. And maybe in order to recognize your level of energy, recognize your body that's carrying it. Be loyal to knowing that you have a face. You have ears, you have hands, you have feet. Most people don't even see their feet. I mean, I purposely buy particular quality of footwear and socks because I want my feet to know they are more important to me, because they keep me standing high always. And without my feet, my energy would be low. My energy would be low. Most people think that energy comes from what they're about to see. I knew we were asking you, viewers, be loyal to what carries your energy. See you daily before you step out of that bedroom. Touch your face, touch your nose, your mouth, your ears. Stroke your hand through your hair or over your bald head. Touch your shoulders, your arms. Be proud of what your legs feel like. Touch your feet, touch your toes. caress your toes with your hands. So your ends of both parts of your bodies have a relationship. Let's just do these things, Tony. What do you think? So we are seeing, we are feeling where our energy is being stored before we even start our day.
I think, again, that's really spot on. And it links to something else, which is gratitude. And so sometimes in the mornings, I mean, I do different types of meditations, but many of them start with feeling your body from the top and just appreciating your body all the way down from the top of your head to your toes, feeling your fingers, legs along the way. And that, to me, is something that's really important, because I've been in lots of accidents in my life, and I'm lucky I still have all my legs and limbs and whatever. Some people don't. And so when I get up in the morning, I'm very grateful that I have 2 arms, 2 legs. My body is in one piece. And I think gratitude anyway is just a great way to start the day, because it puts you in a more positive mood, which is why, again, going back to the phone and the crack cocaine, you can start looking at that and, you know, there's a war over here, there's a recession over here, something else going on over there. And it reduces your frequency, which is another thing that is so important with regard to this. Whereas if you start on a positive and you're appreciating what you have as opposed to what you don't have, then that puts you in a better frame of mind for the day ahead.
Wow. Tony Brown, this has been fantastic. And here we are there, all you people listening and watching. Total Body Health in Wimbledon, London. That's where Tony lives, man. Be there, go and visit him. It's an absolutely beautiful, stonking place to go to. And you've been listening, of course, to Holistic Health and Body Wealth with myself, Paul Rees, and Tony Brown. It's been absolutely beautiful. Your 365 body steps in 1 year, your budget, your energy. This is what we touched on today. So do please like, subscribe, and drop a message in. Tony, I will always send it on to Tony. He will always get back to you, because he's a very generous person when it comes to making sure everybody has the right info for the right body, that's for sure. But there is Total Body Health, the amazing man. Tony, thank you ever so much for a quick jump in power shot here. I love you to bits.
Thank you, Paul.
Happy days, and we will be reaching out to Tony for sure as we go through the year to get some of these in. We got some stuff scheduled in, so there's a lot going to happen with Tony Brown and his knowledge. And I'll see you this time next week, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.